Beneath the shifting sands of the Sahara, in one of the most lifeless stretches of desert on Earth, there is a circle of stones that should not exist. It sits where no river flows, where no rain falls, where nothing should have ever grown, let alone thrived. And yet, 1,000 years before the first stone was raised at Stonehenge, people gathered here, in this furnace of a landscape, to track the heavens with a precision that would stun modern astronomers. This is Nabta Playa, and its story rewrites everything we thought we knew about who watched the sky first. Picture southern Egypt, deep in the Nubian Desert, close to the Sudanese border. Today, it is one of the driest, most punishing environments on the planet. Temperatures soar past 120 degrees. There is no permanent water source for miles. It is, by every modern measure, uninhabitable, but it was not always this way. 10,000 years ago, the climate here was radically different. Monsoon rains swept up from the south, filling the basin with a seasonal lake. Grasslands spread across what is now barren rock. Herds of cattle grazed where sand dunes now roll. For a few thousand years, this corner of the Sahara was green, wet, and alive. And then, slowly, it began to change. As the rains retreated south, the people who had settled here faced an existential problem. Water was disappearing. The seasons were becoming unpredictable. Survival meant one thing above all else: knowing exactly when the rains would come and when they would not. This is the world that gave birth to Nabta Playa. Not a monument built out of leisure or luxury, but one born from desperation, ingenuity, and an unshakable need to understand time itself. The story of its rediscovery begins in the 1970s, when American archaeologist Fred Wendorf was conducting surveys in the region, searching for clues about early human settlement in the Sahara. What his team found went far beyond pottery shards and campfire remains. Buried under centuries of sand, they uncovered a cluster of megaliths, upright stone slabs, some standing over 9 feet tall, arranged with clear intention. Nearby, smaller stones formed a tight circle, no larger than a small room, yet unmistakably deliberate in its design. At first glance, it could have been mistaken for nothing more than scattered rubble. The desert is full of stones, but as Wendorf's team mapped the site more carefully, a pattern began to emerge, one that was not random, not natural, but engineered. Radiocarbon dating on organic material near the stones placed their origins at roughly 6,000 to 6,400 years ago. Some estimates push construction phases back even earlier. Stonehenge, by comparison, was not built until around 3000 BCE. That means the people of Nabta Playa were raising monumental stone structures a full millennium before the first, sarsen, was ever lifted onto the Salisbury Plain. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just an old site. It was potentially the oldest known astronomical monument on Earth. Here is where the story stops being simply old and starts being genuinely mind-bending. In 1998, physicist J. McKim Malville joined the research team to analyze the alignment of the stones with mathematical precision. What he found suggested this was no ordinary gathering place. The upright slabs appeared to align with the position of the sun at the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, and the moment when the life-giving monsoon rains were due to arrive. For people whose survival hinged entirely on predicting seasonal rainfall, this was not decoration. This was a survival instrument, but the astronomy goes deeper still. Some researchers have proposed that certain stones may correspond to the positions of stars such as Sirius, Arcturus, and the Belt of Orion, as they would have appeared in the sky thousands of years ago. If accurate, this would mean the builders were not simply marking the solstice. They were mapping the heavens. Think about what that requires. Not a single observation, but generations of careful watching, recording, comparing, passing knowledge down through people who had no writing system, no metal tools, and yet possessed an intellectual sophistication we rarely credit to prehistoric societies. This was not guesswork. This was applied science, built entirely on repetition, memory, and hard-won observation of the sky. In a place where a wrong guess about the rains could mean starvation, precision was not a luxury. It was survival. So who were these people? The evidence suggests a semi-nomadic cattle herding society, one of the earliest known cultures in Africa to domesticate cattle and organize complex, coordinated communal life. Excavations near the site have revealed cattle burials, deep pits containing the remains of cows treated with what appears to be ritual reverence, wrapped and buried with deliberate care. This tells us something important. Cattle were not just sustenance here. They were central to identity, to spirituality, to survival itself. A society organized enough to conduct cattle burials and coordinated enough to move multi-ton stone slabs across the desert was a society with structure, leadership, and shared belief. And crucially, this was happening in Africa, at a time predating the rise of the Egyptian pharaohs by well over 1,000 years. Some researchers, including Fred Wendorf himself, have proposed that the astronomical and organizational knowledge developed at Nabta Playa may have migrated northward as the Sahara dried out completely, potentially influencing the rise of complex society along the Nile. If true, it suggests that some of the intellectual seeds of Egyptian civilization were not born in the Nile Valley at all, but out in the deep desert, among cattle herders reading the stars to survive a dying landscape. When we say Nabta Playa predates Stonehenge by 1,000 years, it is worth sitting with what that actually means. At the time these stones were raised, agriculture was still a new experiment across much of the world. Writing did not yet exist. The pyramids were not even a distant dream. And yet here, in one of the harshest environments imaginable, human beings were already engaged in structured astronomical observation, organizing their lives around the precise mechanics of the solar year. It challenges a deeply ingrained assumption, the idea that early scientific thought, monumental architecture, and abstract intellectual achievement belonged primarily to certain regions of the ancient world. Nabta Playa stands as quiet, weathered proof that this simply is not true. The desert eventually reclaimed the land. The rains never returned. The people who built this circle either moved on or vanished from history's record entirely. But the stones remained, buried for thousands of years, waiting. Nabta Playa forces us to ask an uncomfortable question. How much of human history has been erased simply because it happened somewhere we weren't looking? How many other Nabta Playas are still out there, buried under sand, waiting for someone to notice the pattern in the stones? If you want to go deeper down this rabbit hole, there's a book that explores this exact site and its connection to early Egyptian civilization in incredible detail, Black Genesis: The Prehistoric Origins of Ancient Egypt by Robert Bauval and Thomas Brophy. It's a fascinating read if this story pulled you in the way it pulled us in, and the link is in the description below. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed this, do us a favor and subscribe, drop a comment with your thoughts, and give this video a like if your mind was as blown as ours was researching it. We'll see you in the next one.